Most of us are told to dream bigger, aim higher, keep chasing something impressive because anything less feels like a waste of potential. But what if a quiet, simple life isn't settling for something worse? What if it's exactly enough and we have just forgotten how to see it that way? In this video, I will share 4 ideas from the book Meditations for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman, especially around why living an ordinary life might be not only okay, but wise. Let's get into it. Step 1. The peace of knowing your limits. We all have a limited amount of time and energy. You cannot master every skill, follow every dream, or become everything you admire. You are human, I'm human as well. And according to this book, this kind of honesty with yourself is the first real step to living well. It's not about giving up on your life, it's about focusing on what is actually possible for you instead of chasing something far outside your reality, which might not give you real peace anyway. You don't have to be impressive to live a happy, content life. This mindset frees you from constantly comparing yourself to unrealistic goals or ideal versions of yourself, and where a simple life begins. Not with doing more, but with doing less, more intentionally, if that makes sense. When you focus on less, you see more. Burkeman also talks about how narrowing your focus is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself. These days we are surrounded by information, stories, advice, tips about what we should do and be already. Sometimes I think life must have been much easier before social media, when people could focus more on their own lives and the small circle around them, when you were not constantly aware of what everyone else was doing or measuring your life against thousands of strangers. Because when your attention is pulled into too many directions, it's very hard to hear your own thoughts. You start feeling like you are falling behind, even when you are not actually. So step back from that noise, unfollow, unsubscribe, say no more often. That is not quitting or like losing, it's actually choosing. And honestly, even this video that you are watching right now doesn't have to be another thing to absorb fully. Just take what feels useful right now, let the rest pass. You are allowed to take things slowly and you don't have to apply every idea you hear, especially not all at once. You don't need a perfect plan. The third strategy for working within your limitations is planting seeds for success. That means doing one small thing each day that brings you closer to the life you want. This doesn't have to be anything big or impressive. If you want more calm, for example, you don't need a 2-hour nature walk every day. You can just step outside for 10 minutes. Notice the shape of a tree or the sound of the rain or the light hitting a window. And these moments don't have to be anything dramatic or perfect feeling or anything like that. Real life doesn't always feel like a movie scene, and it doesn't have to. So let these ordinary moments be good enough, like ordinary moments as they really are. Step 2. Figure out what to quit and what to pursue. It's hard to move forward in life if you are trying to hold on to absolutely everything. Before you can simplify, you have to make choices. You need to take an honest look at how you are spending your time and energy and ask what is really helping you. For me, that started by letting go of a few things that I noticed were slowly draining me and my energy. For example, I stopped using social media so much and started reading instead. I stopped buying new clothes and started wearing out what I had until they wore out. I stopped trying to take in every bit of information to become the smartest person in the room and started learning more deeply about one thing at a time, while at the same time accepting that I cannot know it all. These changes were about getting clear on what actually mattered to me and being okay with not doing everything, not having everything, and not knowing everything. Choose one path that grows you. The book also shares an idea from Carl Jung, the concept of a life task. It's not about chasing big goals or achievements. It's about finding a path that helps you grow into the person that you are meant to become. This task should always meet 2 simple conditions. First, it should push your comfort zone and help you grow slowly over time. And second, it has to fit within your current reality, your time, energy, skills, and situation right now. Not someday, not if everything were perfect, but now. Here's an example what that could look like. So you're trying to declutter your entire home in one weekend while juggling work, errands, and everything else. Like, that's probably not going to simplify your life. So instead, setting aside an hour each weekend to go through one small space. That's doable. That's something that might not always be comfortable, because the process of decluttering isn't everyone's cup of tea, because it can be sometimes quite difficult emotionally, but that probably fits into your current life and aspirations. And instead of keeping it general, like 1 hour of decluttering, break it down. Choose to go through the kitchen drawer, or choose 5 things to donate. Make the task so small, so simple, so easy that it feels almost too easy to start. And also give it boundaries. No more than 3 or 4 hours for one focused task. That keeps this process sustainable. And if you notice that you are going way beyond that, this usually means that your ego has taken over. So remember, you are not here to win any contest. You are here to create a life that feels good. Now here's the part that is often misunderstood. A simpler life doesn't mean a perfect one. It doesn't mean every problem disappears and everything feels peaceful all the time. There will always be problems. That's just part of being human. But the point of simplifying is to trade the constant chaos for better problems. A bad problem could look like rushing every day, always feeling overwhelmed, juggling too much at the same time, or never knowing what to focus on. And then a better problem might be struggling to decide how to spend a quiet morning, or learning to set boundaries with people you care about, or choosing which creative idea to follow when you actually have time again. You're still dealing with things, but these better problems feel more like part of your life, or a life that you want to live, and not a life that is pulling you in 100 different directions. You're not simplifying to escape the hard parts. You're simplifying so that what remains is worth your care and attention, so that your challenges are more aligned with problems that you want to solve, not ones that you have to endure. Step 3. Loosen the grip. A lot of people get interested in minimalism and simple living because they want more control. Maybe they feel overwhelmed and hope that by cutting things out, life will finally settle. And yes, simplifying can create space. It usually does. But it will not make life perfectly predictable. The truth is, no matter how carefully you plan, life still shifts. Life still happens. You still get tired. You still get interrupted. Plans fall through and unexpected things show up. And the more tightly you try to control everything, the more stress you just create for yourself. I have had this happen so many times. Like, I plan a quiet morning, but then someone calls or emails me about something important. I try to have a calm evening, but I cannot stop thinking about something that went wrong. Even when you simplify the outer parts of life, your inner world doesn't always stay in line. The biases that might be blocking you. Sometimes it's not life itself that feels overwhelming, it's how we think about life. We all carry mental habits, mental patterns that quietly create pressure, often without us realizing it. These are called cognitive biases. I began noticing mine more clearly after spending some time in therapy. Very useful, I have to say. Learning to name these made a big difference for me. It really helped me respond to them with more awareness. So here are a few that I have personally struggled with, and I think many people do. The first one is the planning fallacy. So the belief that something will take less time or energy than it actually does. Maybe you sit down to finish a project, reply to emails, or get through your to-do list, and hours later, you are only halfway done. You feel now behind, even though the task was never small to begin with. This happens a lot when we expect ourselves to move at an unrealistic pace. And sometimes the problem isn't really you, it's the pressure to treat every day like it should be maximized. Another common one is catastrophizing. This is when your mind jumps straight to the worst case scenario. You forget to reply to someone and suddenly you assume that they will be very upset with you. you feel tired one day and wonder if you are falling apart, or you consider slowing down and immediately fear that you will lose all your momentum in whatever that you are doing. I've done this more times than I can count, especially when I'm tired or uncertain about something. My brain fills in the blanks with fear, but most of the time those fears don't actually come true. And then there's control bias, the idea that if we try hard enough, we can prevent anything from going wrong. But that is not how life works. Sometimes the unexpected shows up and it is not your fault. Sometimes you just need to let go of the plan and be with what is. These mental patterns or habits don't make you bad or broken, they just need noticing. When you see them, you can just soften your grip. You can choose a different response. Accept the flow of life, even in the inconvenient parts. We tend to label interruptions or shifts as problems, but what if they are not? What if the change in plans or the pause in momentum, the unexpected feeling isn't getting in the way, but actually is the way? I have learned that some of the most grounded moments in my life were not planned. They came when I stopped resisting what was in front of me and just accepted the reality. Actually, most of my best ideas show up when I'm not even trying to have them. They come when I'm just present in that moment and not doing anything in particular. So maybe I'm just walking or staring out of the window. So you can keep making plans and keep simplifying, but hold your schedule with an open hand. Do what you can with focus and care, but don't expect everything to stay on track. Step 4. Stop waiting for the real life. Most of us live with the idea that our real life is still somewhere ahead of us. We plan for better times and see this moment today just as a warm-up for that. But a key for more peaceful life is to stop postponing it. The good times you remember, the moments that felt full, light, or meaningful, were always happening in the present moment. And most of them didn't feel like anything special at the time. They were just small, regular days and scenes, the kind that you only miss once they are gone. So a big part of this shift is taking your current life seriously. Many people delay happiness because they don't think that now is the right time to do anything. Like they overwork to earn a future break. They delay relationships because they are not ready, or they avoid change because their present is not ideal for that, even though they actually want to do that. It's okay that most of it doesn't matter. In the big picture, most of what we do will not be remembered, and it won't change the course of history. And that's actually a good thing, or at least in my opinion it is. Because imagine if every action had major consequences. Life would be unbearable. You would be so incredibly careful with everything that you do and say. But the truth is, most of life is made up of ordinary moments. And because of that, we are free to focus on smaller, more human things like cooking a meal, giving a compliment, helping someone without needing it to be some sort of a milestone. I talked about this with my friends recently, especially in relation to my YouTube channel. I have never been super interested in becoming famous or anything like that. In fact, the idea of me being recognized on the street makes me feel quite uncomfortable. That kind of attention isn't part of life that I want to build, because I just want to be an ordinary person. What matters to me is that the work I do is thoughtful, useful, and pleasant for me. That's enough, and it is why I do what I do. And it's the same with life. You don't have to chase meaning through fame or recognition. You can live quietly and it can still be meaningful. And that's why living a simple, quiet life is not only okay, it's really something to be proud of. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to stay kind and meaningful in your own beautiful journey. See you in the next one.